Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Yes, that's right. It's time for Sarcastic Distractions, the interesting podcast for interesting people. Featuring, as always, the Gentleman Society of Podcasting. Myself, Harvey, my heterosexual life mate, David,
Hello.
and the ever-loving AJ.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah. And if there was a trios in the wrestling world that could kick everyone's butt, it'd be the Sarcastic Distractions trios. Faction thing, whatever.
I'd be one of the manager guys that sits outside and just
Okay.
yells and
You would-
yeah.
that would
You'd
definitely
let
be
us
it.
get beat up.
Yeah,
let
you
us-
go do the work and I just sit there and yell.
For sure.
And periodically I would point out how horrible of a wrestler you are and you're no longer on my team.
Oh.
But then secretly you are and we were
Oh.
actually all in backward. Yeah.
I like the storyline. Let's see where it goes. I'm in.
Let's try it.
That's right. In case you didn't figure it out from our little preamble there, we are talking wrestling. My favorite thing to talk about. I love pro wrestling. But more specifically, we're going to touch a little bit on the rise of a little company known as AEW, or All Elite Wrestling. And for review, we looked at the latest offerings they had this week with the week of, do you remember the dates? What was last one?
I do not look at dates.
I think one said the 16th.
Yeah, I think so. So anywhere of the week of the October 16th week of the offerings of AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage, and the little buy-in show that they had on YouTube for free, which featured a very, very cool match. But real quickly, just want to talk, if you guys don't know how AEW was formed, it's really freaking crazy how this is, because you guys were old school wrestling fans watching the Hulk Hogans and the Undertakers and things.
I was that old school, yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay. So for a long time, it was the WWE in America and in Canada, North America, whatever you call it.
Well,
And-
technically with the WWF, but
The
still.
WWF, yeah. But then WWE.
Yeah.
And
and they wrestled pandas.
Right.
That's
they did,
right.
They did. And that's why they weren't allowed to use WWF anymore. It's like, well, you wrestle pandas. I mean,
Yeah.
no
Can't do that.
longer.
It's all right.
Nope.
if it's like, all right, we'll call it the World Wrestling Entertainment. And for the longest time, there was literally no other major competition. There was, you had to a couple of things like TNA tried to make a dig at it. There was a couple of other smaller companies. For the most part, it's been them for at least 20 plus years.
Remember WCW was on TBS?
Yes. Now, come AEW 2 years ago, it was a guy by the name of Tony Khan who's rich, and he owns
Who's rich?
and he owns Fulham, the Fulham Football Club, and he also owns Jacksonville Jaguars. I should say his family does.
The football club?
Yeah, the football club. Yeah, yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Football
Not just
club.
like random cats in the
Jaguars.
fucking...
No, the football club, not just random
Okay.
Jaguars that hang out in Jacksonville. Yeah,
Okay.
and he's a massive wrestling fan. He formed AEW with these guys, the Young Bucks. If you don't know who they are, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and I think that's it. I'm missing one guy. And they all became executive vice presidents, whatever you call it. And they created this company to showcase pro wrestling more of the indie sense rather than the same style that you see in WWE. And this week's Rampage, there was an overlap with WWE SmackDown for about a half an hour. And in the important and key demographics, AEW's numbers beat WWE's, which is the first time that's happened
Dun, dun, dun.
in like 20 years. So that's why they're becoming a big deal in
They
this
better be
world.
careful. Vince McMahon's going to hire hits on them.
I mean, if you go watch that Dark Side of the Ring, yeah, definitely it happened. Like that's what Vince does. He's like,
When
"Oh,
you just buy them? I thought that was the other
That's the only
thing.
I got more money than you. Yeah, so.
I'll buy you. Okay.
So I thought it'd be cool to just talk about the shows and what you guys think of the product that they're offering. I'm obviously a fanboy, so I'm going to be biased, but I just want to hear what you guys thought. Starting with the buy-in that we had and the matches we had. I'm trying to remember what they were. The last match was Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki, and I can't remember the other two matches, unfortunately. But fill me in.
Well, you can't. I could not fill you in.
Yeah.
I'll be honest on
Okay,
this.
Sorry,
Alright.
we're kind of...
Yeah, I am not a huge
Yeah.
wrestling fan.
What?
I know.
Shock and awe.
So and you gave us the lovely episodes. I did watch one in the sense that I sat and watched. The other two were on in the background as I was doing
Sure.
chores and stuffs.
Sometimes that's how you have to watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a me thing.
Okay.
So, and again, it's not a knock against this particular club or group
Whatever,
or
yeah.
anything. It's one of those silly things of just, for me, yeah, like, don't get me wrong. There's some cool moves. Like they can do kick-ass things that I cannot do. I'm not, saying, hey, this is just BS. Like, yeah, it's fake. Of course it's fake. But it's still a lot of skill and expertise in that
Sure.
fake. So it was entertaining, but
Sure.
it's just, I couldn't dive into it.
That's
I
fine.
could not. I tried.
I guess I don't retain the information the same way you do.
Apparently not.
Because I'm always, whenever we're watching the show, I know like what two out of how many people?
Yeah,
Like,
probably. Yeah.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, that's true. You do.
What's
You
that
ask
guy
questions
want?
when we watch, yeah.
What the fuck's his problem?
And I'm breaking down storylines to you, and stuff, yeah,
Right?
for sure. Yeah.
So I guess I just don't. It's just two dudes. I don't know. I find it entertaining and not entertaining all at the same time.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? Like,
Not quite, but please explain.
on one hand, it's entertaining because it's two dudes fighting.
Right.
But on the
Or
other
two
hand,
females.
or
Or two
sorry,
females, yeah.
two people.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, for some reason, I get bored really easily because it's just kind of the same a lot to me. I guess
Yeah.
because I'm not knowing the moves or knowing why this is good or why this is an awesome move or holy crap they pulled that off. Like
Yeah.
there's sometimes where it's like holy shit that was impressive, but
Mhm.
again it's probably like knowing how to play hockey versus just watching, like knowing the rules versus just watching. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can
I don't know.
appreciate that.
So I guess I don't retain the information of who's who or who did what when.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, Brian Danielson
Because I know who that is.
was. Yeah, of course you
But
do.
the only reason I know who that is because of that silly show with John Cena and the twins
Right.
with the WWE thing.
Bellas, yeah.
Because he's married to one of the twin girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason I know that.
Isn't it crazy that his wife is in the WWE Hall of Fame? Like, what? That seems weird. She's what, like 40?
Yeah, maybe
Like,
maybe
oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess there's no age limit. Well, no, I appreciate that. But that match with Minoru Suzuki was very special. And the reason why that was special is because Minoru Suzuki, who is notorious for being a fucking hard hitter. I'm sure you've watched that match. You can see the way he smacks on the guy. Like he's not there to just, play tiddlywinks. And,
Oh no, like and that's what I mean. Like I know it's fake, but there's definitely a lot going on.
Oh, for sure.
And it's on both sides of the coin. Like I don't want to overknock the idea of wrestling because, and I'm not trying to knock the lovely females that were in the first round,
Mhm.
but you could see a little bit more of the roughage. They were
Little
obviously newbies.
Yeah, yeah.
And okay, I say newbies because I'm an expert. By no
You can see
stretch.
they were fresher than
Well,
some of the more experienced
Because some of them
guys.
were just, you could see the reaction before the hit,
Right.
things like that.
Mhm.
Whereas, when you started, and again, when you started going later in the that hour episode, no, a lot more. Not only is there experience and expertise, but no, they're actually getting hit.
Yeah, they legit like
Yeah, they're getting
That's the
smacked around a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
like
bit.
let's
at
not
least.
let's not be whatever facetious. Wrestling is fake. Like it's basically people play fighting in their underwear. Like that's really what's happening.
Yeah.
However,
Now,
With really long boots. I
with
never
the
got the
actual
boots
boots,
thing.
yeah, well, you got to protect
to
your
comment
shoes.
on what you said
Oh,
before,
the
how much more
shoes.
interesting would it be if they got into the ring and they were all like hyped up, getting to the ring, and then it's just a tiddlywinks game, but they're all dressed the way
The wrestling.
the wrestling. They come out with
I do love the intros. I will say that's the one thing I do really enjoy about the wrestling is the intros they have for every single wrestler
Yeah,
and how they're all unique style. Like, don't be wrong, there's copy similarities, of course.
Sure.
But it's always just that you're getting an intro. It has a set time. They're hopping in the ring. The other wrestler in there is just stomping around like, oh, same. I love just that nostalgia. For me, it was a nostalgia. That's probably what
oh
it was.
yeah.
It was just that, yeah.
Those, those pops are great, eh? Like you just get into when they're coming out, you're like, ah.
Yeah, well, it's just it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I always love, and this is again slightly off topic, slightly on,
Yeah,
is
whatever.
just they're sitting there and they're tapping, the first down, tap, and of course they break out of it, and the guy or person that had the tap going that was on top,
yeah.
they're like, oh my god, he got out of it.
Yeah, you're like,
Every
how's that possible?
Every
My-
single
how's-
time. And I'm sitting there, I'm just laughing my ass off. My son comes up when he watches and I'm explaining. He goes, why are you laughing? I'm like, it's just,
I know.
I can't explain it. It's just every single time. I go back and I show it to him. He's like, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it.
I know it's true. And imagine if like he wasn't supposed to you kick out or tap.
I know.
It was like, but that would be a shock. Like, what's gonna
I just sit
happen.
up and
Like,
I just-
or that look, they're like,
I know, it's just always the how'd you get out of that?
I love it. Well, the whole reason why, there was also another match was Bobby Fish versus, I can't remember. Who
You could
wrestled
say
that
any
match.
name you want right now.
All right, but that Minoru Suzuki match and Bryan Danielson is special because Minoru Suzuki is part of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and
Okay.
that's kind of like the WWE of the East, if you will. Like,
Okay.
That's that's Japan's home, and they're the kings over there, pretty much of all of Asia, if you want to count anywhere else in Asia. There's not a whole lot of wrestling in Asia. Well, there's just not. Like,
Okay.
there's like
I'm
one
glad you followed up with the why.
there's like 2 companies in China. I think one in Hong Kong, one in China.
that
and
we know about.
that we
But
know
what
about.
about-
True.
What about India? India's in Asia.
India does actually. That's fair point. India does have actually a pretty robust wrestling scene. I gotta actually.
Wow.
I couldn't.
I was kind of making a joke.
They
I mean,
legit
I was
have something.
legit curious,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it was,
Well, the
I
land of
know.
Bollywood, of course, they're gonna.
oh
Good,
yeah, I
yeah,
guess,
good. Love
yeah.
this. Like,
That's something we should
pageantry.
talk about someday. Bollywood.
We should definitely talk about.
I don't know if
Bollywood.
I could sit through a Bollywood movie.
There's a
I
few
don't know
that
if I
are
could
just
So great. Well, you can at least sit through Slumdog Millionaire. It's kind of Bollywoody.
I never
Not
saw
really.
it.
What?
No.
yeah,
That's a
good
great
one.
film.
It is a good one.
Really great film.
Yeah.
Saw it.
It's
One
a
of the
good one.
Best musical choices in that film was Paper Airplanes or Airplanes
Oh,
by
yeah, gotcha.
by MIA.
Yeah,
Holy shuck.
yes.
Holy shit! The way, just great. The
Yeah.
way they.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one. To
No.
boot. Shit.
Give that a watch. Yeah. Back to wrestling.
So they do have quite the wrestling scene in India then.
They do. There's lots
Based
of
on
people
that film as
Yeah.
the example.
for sure. In fact, I know WWE was trying to make a big foothold in there, and they tried to use one of our Indo-Canadian guys
Oh.
as like their champion to try to
Get
push
in.
forward into there. And I don't know if it would have worked the way they wanted it to, but hey, whatever.
It's like any cultural style. When you're trying to get into a culture, and again, when what you're trying to go into is based on your culture, and it really is a Western culture
Yeah.
concept, you can't force it. It's
No.
Yeah, they need to put their style, their flair, their thing if they want.
I think that's the way to go, right? I mean, and I comparing apples to oranges, I guess. The WWE, that's kind of what they do. They try to mold you to their style. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a
Yeah.
wrestler, it doesn't matter if you're a manager, it doesn't matter where you're. It doesn't matter where you come from. You're going to learn the WWE style
Yeah,
going
gotcha.
forward, right?
Yeah.
Whereas AEW is not really like that. You see guys kind of doing their thing, whether good or bad or otherwise. You look at guys like AJ's favorite, Orange Cassidy.
I don't like that guy.
I
don't like that guy.
I know you don't.
That's one guy I know his name because I don't like
I
him.
love him. I
Is
think
there a
he's great.
reason why, or just don't?
I don't know.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, somebody's fine. I'm trying to
Somebody's
hide
fine.
mine.
Definitely not mine.
No. Oh, it might be. You know what? It's probably mine. Barely heard the fucking the sound gremlins. He's just, I don't know.
You don't like that lazy man gimmick?
No, he's like a. I think if he was lazy and not douchey, but he's just douchey.
You can be
He's just,
one of them,
he's
not
just-
both.
He's just, I don't know.
Hilarious.
All right. Well, I have
But
to admit,
that's kind of probably the point, though, right?
I think that is,
it
yeah.
might be his style. I
Right?
don't
So
know.
you got to go into that as that character going, there's probably not a lot of people who are going to like me.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to have that again. That character in almost any thing, movie, film, TV. Yeah,
The
you need
difference
to have
with
the one
the-
nobody likes.
The one that his character, though, well, I think I hate to break it to AJ, he's in the minority of
Oh,
that.
not liking that.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
he's a
Orange
popular-
Cassidy is so
Oh,
over,
gotcha.
it's not even funny. He's probably one of their top 5
Oh, nice.
most popular characters. And you don't know him, obviously, so
think-
Oh.
You know what?
His
Part
whole
of it's
thing-
the name.
maybe, yeah,
the name
you
is
hate the name.
stupid.
It's fucking-
Orange Cassidy?
Cassidy. What the actual? And it doesn't like. It doesn't even fit his character really. Like, he doesn't do it. He doesn't throw oranges at people or anything.
That's a
He
good
doesn't
point.
drink orange juice or
No.
like have an orange gimmick or anything.
Maybe he's
like
just
that, really.
tanned orange.
Well, I think he's kind of got reddish hair,
Yes.
ish, blondish red.
I know. But
But
he's got a tagline, freshly squeezed. His whole thing is
Does he really?
Yeah, yeah.
Stupid.
His whole thing is he wears like jeans and a jean jacket and like a shirt of himself on it. shirt.
Okay, I might have to investigate it now.
Oh, I think
for
you
the
would
jeans,
love this guy.
is it jeans or is it the jean shorts?
No, jeans.
No, it's jeans.
Straight
It's
jeans.
either jeans or it's like jeggings or
Yeah,
something
something
that
like
looks
that,
like
yeah.
jeans.
And his whole thing is he could give two shits about anything that's going on in life. Like when he does a thumbs up, his thumbs up's like this. It's like, yeah, here you go. When he goes and does,
Okay,
when
I
he
need
goes
to
and tries to
investigate.
kick you, like he'll do like a little.
Oh, I will say his style of wrestling definitely befits the character.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
that's one of the people I find it does like he kind of carries that character over into the fighting part of
Yeah.
it, whereas a lot of other people are just like, okay, now it's this time.
Yeah, you're
Right.
good point.
Like
good
you were
point.
saying about the intros, that's almost their time to be the character,
Yes.
and then once they hit the ring,
They're doing
it's
follow the
it's
move.
wrestling time.
Yeah,
it's
work.
it's time to dance,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Actually,
this
that's a good way to describe it.
That's a good point. Yeah,
but this cat, yeah, he does the like meh.
like his first thing he does, he sticks
Meh.
his hands in his pockets, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And then he'll try to like lightly kick you, and the crowd goes nuts. The crowd's like, "Whoa, whoa!" He's doing all these big.
Now I
fucking
wish
moves.
I'd watched. Was this in one of the
So
episodes? That you
He was. I don't think he wrestled. He was in
Ah,
one of the
okay.
episodes.
All right. Well, that's what it is. Okay, I want to watch this guy just for the shits of it.
And the thing is, like like it's a full on commitment for this guy because outside of wrestling, like he's this character. He had to do it to keep it over because there's
To
no
keep
way
going
people
and
buy it.
going. Yeah.
And and the whole thing is like he does stupid stuff. He actually does moves with his hands in his pockets. Like he can go. So he can he'll do dives off the top. He'll he'll do a bunch of crazy shit with his hands in his pockets. You're like, well, that's kind of crazy.
And see, that's the thing I like to see in wrestling. And again, that's what I like about having a wrestling fan like you in my
Sure,
life.
yeah.
Because I can periodically hear about and see things like that in that little box. I go, fuck, man, that kicks ass.
For
I don't
sure.
have to watch the other
And then,
90
yeah.
minutes.
That's true.
And then it's done.
Well, for me, I'm a big fan of different. I'm looking because you're right. Like any industry, it's
Oh,
all
yeah,
been
of
done
course.
before. It's all been done. Like this isn't like these guys are doing anything different than they were doing like 80 years ago. Things are a little flashier. Things are a little bit moving a little bit differently, but it's kind of the same thing as it's always been. So when I see something different that completely is off the grid of what pro wrestling should be, I'm in.
Oh,
I'm
there's a lot of different. There's a man who thinks he's a dinosaur,
That's right, Luchasaurus.
dinosaur man, and then there's Tarzan.
Oh yeah,
is
Jungle
in it.
Boy. Yeah, that's
Tarzan's
right.
in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then there's this lady dentist.
yeah. Britt Baker.
It's
She's an actual dentist.
yeah, it's interesting.
No, please tell us more about Britt Baker.
I love just
Hey,
that.
Jay?
I don't know how to describe this more.
She's a lady dentist, and then she has another lady with her who's always fucked up for some reason. Her legs always she always has
Arms broken or
crutches.
something. I know. Every
What
time.
the fuck's going on?
Why this?
But why is there a dinosaur man? I don't understand.
What about Darby Allin? He's half dead.
I have
Oh
to
yeah,
admit-
then there's that guy, and then there's the
And it-
dude who thinks he's the crow.
That's Sting.
Yeah, that guy
Yeah.
Stung.
It's Stung.
Stung.
And
he's
isn't-
he's
is
just past
Darby
his
Allin's-
prime, so he's not Sting anymore. He's
Is
Stung.
And isn't Darby Allin his kid? Isn't that?
I don't know.
Okay.
What I love is the way you
So,
two
yeah,
have
you
just
want-
gone over this. Now I want to watch some more wrestling.
See,
Like,
there you go.
shit.
You want different? There's your fucking different.
It's so fucking different. Like I can't even tell you. Well, even you watching, even just the hour that you did, I'm sure you could see the like the contrast between like a WWE show versus what you saw in the buy-in.
Not really.
Oh,
I will
okay.
be honest about
Alright,
this. Like,
sure.
don't be wrong. There was scenes like there was the one match between, and I think you mentioned the one fellow where the two guys are just smacking each other in the
Bobby
middle of the
Fish.
ring.
Oh
back-
no, Minoru and
Yeah.
yeah.
Like that's all they're doing. And don't get me wrong. Part of me's like, oh, that's kind of fun. The other part of me's like, after about a minute of it, I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah, it's like
see, it's
yeah.
entertaining, but it's not.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, I guess that's the way they're designed too, right? Because you got to have, I don't want to call them rest periods, but you got to have points where, you got to take a breather.
Well, it's the
So-
story, and that's one thing I did like. They call it this is going to be a 20-minute max match. Things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like that was fun.
I
Now,
like that.
Don't get me wrong. Like, and I wanted to bring it up because you have taken me to a live wrestling show twice.
Twice, yeah.
And I will admit this. Fuck, I had a good time there.
Yeah.
Like, and these are, by no means the same expertise of what I was watching on I was going to say the telly, but it's not quite the telly. But they're not the same expertise. But it was still great. And we're sitting in like little chairs, with another maybe 100 people. Well, actually, probably a bit more of that. It was
probably a
packed.
few.
It was packed. But yeah, that was fun. Like that, I actually enjoyed.
I'm sure if I went to it live, it'd be a different experience
It was good.
altogether.
Oh yeah.
I do actually recommend that. To me, that's like baseball. Can
Yep.
I watch baseball on the television? No, I'm afraid not. Unless it's like the Blue Jays in the last round, things of this nature, of course. But live, I like baseball.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Can't say I agree with that. I would liken it to my enjoyment of hockey live versus
Well,
watching it on the telly.
See, I can watch hockey on the telly. That
Yeah,
I can still
I
do.
can watch hockey any day.
Basketball is another example for me personally. Can't watch on the television. Even watching the local London guys here do the game, that was fun. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
That I could see would probably be an entertaining time being there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wrestling live is very, very fun.
Oh, it was
It's a-
good.
it's
And
a
this wasn't
great
even
time.
like the big wrestling like
Right.
that. Like the crowd there was insane. That's the other thing I did actually like. And this is just my perspective, but on the one that I watched where they're doing the crowd intro, the camera showing face novel and all these peeps, there's a massive variety of people.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just the same like
yeah.
it was.
Old school,
Yeah.
it was all about the white kid guys. That was it.
That's
Nowadays,
true.
fuck no. You call out the type of person, they maybe go
there.
to
Yeah.
wrestling.
Guy, girl, child, adult, like you name it. It seems
Name the
yeah.
Redneck businessman.
right
That's
beside each
true.
other, cheering it on.
That's
like
true. It's
it
true.
was, that's one thing I will. Again, I'll plus one it a bit. Like there was a variety.
It does
People who
fascinate.
think it's real, people who don't.
Well, see, it fascinates me because there's. I'm giving the world the benefit of the doubt here, and the people who
Oh,
go to these
shit,
things
hell's
the benefit
frozen
of the
over.
doubt.
Lord.
But there's got to. It fascinates me because there has to be a majority of people who understand and know this is not real.
Absolutely.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's still
The
like you.
experience.
You're attracted to it for some reason,
Yeah.
and I don't quite
Get it?
get it. And I don't think people should even beat each other up because the boxing and the MMA, like, I mean, it's voluntary. Do whatever you want to do.
And boxing, MMA. I've never been an MMA fan.
But for some reason, I can see that to be more valid of a sport, if you will,
Oh, MMA is an actual
because
sport.
because people are actually,
Fucking each other up.
yeah, like.
Well,
I mean, yes, wrestlers are like bouncing around a ring and doing flippy floppy, and yeah, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get worn out, you're gonna get, your knees or things are gonna impact in a certain way
course, yeah.
eventually, where you're gonna get sore and hurt. But with boxing or MMA, you're getting a lot more piss taken out of you
oh yes.
to stand there and do
Sure.
that for 20 minutes
Yep.
or whatever.
I'd even say you probably make more money too.
Oh, a hell of a lot more.
I hope so. For what
I'd
you
hope
like
so.
at that level you
Yeah.
have to give. Yeah.
So what? Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, that's one thing I actually like about wrestling, though. Don't get me wrong; they never say that it's fake, but it really is about they go out with that style. It is just another form of entertainment. It truly is, and that I don't knock it for that. Like they go out to try to put on the best show possible using some amazing skills. It's just for me.
Sure. I have nothing against, like, I think I've said it to Chris before, is that they're stuntmen,
Yeah.
right? They're basically, these people are stunt people. They're stunt people, right? Because I always forget there's the lady side.
Sure.
That's
And
wrong.
sometimes
that's
they're better
wrong.
than the
I'm
men.
bad. That's wrong.
If
and
a
yeah, you're
female
right.
wrestler wants to come down and show us the way, all right,
Heck
you
yeah.
must.
Beat me up for forgetting. But
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're talking about
stunt
stuntmen,
people.
yeah.
They're stunt humans.
stunt people.
Basically, is what
Stunt
they are. It's like
peoples,
you could have maybe that's why certain wrestlers become decent action movie actors, even if they can't act well,
Well, and that's more I was actually
because
going to
they
call out.
can take they can make it look real.
Well, but I think wrestlers actually need more than just that ability. They also need to have the style and kind of
Charisma?
the charisma, the acting
Yeah.
skill. Like they do
It's
need
definitely
those.
the better actors.
Yes,
who
they're up
are
there.
more popular. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the Rock, the Dwayne Johnson there
Yeah.
Yeah.
as an actor.
Undertaker.
Absolutely.
And
Shawn Michaels.
John Cena's gone from that stupid Marine movie that he was in, which was terrible,
It was-
to where he is now, and he's a funny man.
He is a funny man.
He's a funny
What about,
man.
what about
That,
Dave Batista?
Fire trucky
He's-
guy and all that.
he's a good.
Fire trucky guy.
John Batista.
No, John Cena. He would wear the jorts.
Yeah, he had, and he thought he
Okay,
was
he's
a
the
rapper.
guy I'm thinking. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is the
yeah.
guy I'm thinking.
He was
of.
on one movie I'm thinking about right now is Cock Blockers. I think it's
That was a funny.
That
movie.
was a really funny movie.
He was
as
great.
well.
He was
Yeah.
great in that.
I think we've brought that up before.
I think we
I
have,
love that we
He
keep
was-
talking about
he's-
cock blockers.
He's good at the peacemaker role
Yeah,
that
he's really
that he's
great
doing
now.
for DC right now.
Gotcha.
He's landed his spot.
He's a humorous fellow.
He sure is.
And the Dwayne the Johnson Rock. Yeah.
Classic.
He's I can't say that he's a terrible actor.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
again,
no.
Especially
Batista
for
too.
what he's doing too.
Batista too. I mean, he went the actual actor's route. The fact that he's already got a role in
He was
the
good
Blade
in-
Runner,
He was good.
the
in
20
Dune.
whatever, I can't remember the 21. What was the sequel called for Blade Runner?
2049.
Thank you.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Dune.
Yeah, you got a role in
I
Dune.
watched that.
That's like
Oh,
a week
was good.
away.
I want to see it.
He was good in that.
Got to see that.
He was
Can't wait.
excellent in
The
that.
new Dune.
Yeah,
Nice.
he was
Yeah.
excellent.
And I mean, Drax
Drax.
was obviously it, right? So yeah, clearly they took these careers of pro wrestling and they decided, like, the reality is, like, any job that is physically taxing as this is,
Mhm.
you can't do it forever. You just can't.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no.
So you got to think of what your exits are. So-
Can't be in the ring forever.
Right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. That's right. So you can, like, one thing, it's crazy to think about Sting. You can say he's over the hill if you want, but like that guy's in his fucking 60s and he's still putting on matches.
That's
like,
true.
And they look good, which is even crazier.
I make the jokes, but yeah,
Like, but he obviously that's what, like once, twice a year, maybe three.
yeah, he
if
doesn't.
You're lucky.
I mean, he shows up a lot.
Yeah, but
as the moral support guy or that manager.
Yeah.
sure.
Um,
And he'll take a bump,
character.
but he won't, like, you won't see anything crazy because he can't. But
Yeah,
is he making money by helping the guys in the back and making them, look good? Of course he is. That's
he's-
that's what his role is, right? And the same thing is like, so if you're not going to stick within the industry, you got to kind of break out some way, and acting's the way to go. And
and some I guess some make it and some don't. Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Well, that's the same for almost anything.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are gonna make, some won't. Some will make, because or won't make, will make out of luck. Some will make because they try, and then of course the opposite side of that coin, where there's those that kick ass, do everything proper, don't make it.
For
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
Now to go back,
They end up at small town Comic Cons.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Autographs for $25.
what are you talking about?
I don't know. Wasn't Kenny Omega at one of the ones here?
Kenny
before
Omega's here?
He,
Yeah.
Before he reached the pinnacle of
Where is that now?
famedom.
Yep.
Mm.
And Kevin Nash was here. I met him. And
See, again, another guy who kind of transitioned into.
yeah,
So
He's like Super Shredder.
Well, he was also he played Super Shredder, and he was the big muscular villain guy in The Punisher.
Russian. Yeah, he played the Russian.
I didn't realize that until later.
Yep.
That he was, because he looked different. Like he
Yeah.
was bigger.
And I think when he was wrestling his hair long and he just cut it short for that role, so he definitely looked very different.
Oh yeah, he was
Yeah.
like a blonde. It was like
Yeah.
bleach blonde, and
And he's done a lot of acting, actually.
Yeah.
It's not as big as the guys we just talked about, but he's in the game.
he's done quite a few.
Yeah.
quite a few
He's
films.
making
yeah.
money, right?
Nice.
So it's tricky. So back to your point earlier is like, you don't get why. With the craziest thing, and we might even discuss this when we had Just Incredible, shout out to Just Incredible on our podcast a little while back. The craziest thing was when in the 90s, it was more or less admitted that it's staged. Like, there was kind of people before were like, oh, they're gonna have a match, but their best friends are gonna have a beer in the back. Like, but before there was like an official announcement,
Mhm.
nobody really knew. And then it was kind of told that the results are predetermined. And you would think with that, people would die off. Be like, well, fuck that. I don't want to watch this. It's not real.
Is
But
it,
no, that's not what happened.
was it because people were betting on it?
People still bet on it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for those people.
I
Well,
would agree.
I guess there's no real finding out who's gonna win this week or next. Like,
Unless you know the bookers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, yeah. But so it became even more popular when people realized it was fake.
but why? I don't
I
understand.
think-
I don't comprehend.
I think you pull that Band-Aid off or you pull that curtain back, and then you realize it's a performance art show, right? You say what you want, but you will put this in the same class you put ballet, or you put stage plays,
Yeah, no.
or
no,
that's
because
I
you're
agree
right.
with that.
Because it is dancing.
yeah,
It's fight dancing.
it's fight dancing, exactly.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right, because it's choreographed and there's moves and
yeah.
I'm gonna do this and then you're gonna go under here and do that and then
Right.
you're gonna lift me up and then you're gonna
And then
pirouette.
there's a
and then
little
you're
bit of room for improv.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
The only thing I
yeah.
do is there do have that little bit of style, the adaption, the oops, sorry for me, actually
Sure.
cutting you for 2 seconds ago. I wasn't really supposed to do that.
One of the greatest examples of this was WrestleMania 18, and the headline was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, the first time they ever met, and it was like the whole
Ever
era,
met?
whatever.
Like they had
Ever
even,
fought.
They hadn't even met.
I ever met in the ring.
Like, they- They didn't go for
It
a
was
beer?
their first
well,
meeting.
it was the first meeting. It went well. They got coffee. And yeah, I guess Hogan gave Rock his number and they hit it off. It was great.
And that's what people watch on
That's
wrestling.
exactly.
And that's wrestling now, apparently.
But when the match happened, it was in Toronto, actually, oddly enough. And when the match happened, the match was supposed to go a particular way. I think it was supposed to go Hogan winning. I'm not sure the thing. But both The Rock and Hogan, when they're ring, they're doing the whole standoff thing. The crowd's losing their minds. They're reading the crowd and they realize, oh, no, we can't have the match go the way we planned it. So they changed it on the fly.
Oh,
And-
even they changed the outcome.
Yeah, all based off of the crowd reaction. And it was a right call to do that because that was what the crowd wanted to see. So that's the thing. Yeah, you could have a predetermined match. You know how things are going to go, blah, blah, blah. But then you're out there and the crowd's dead to what you're doing. You got to change it up. You got to mix
Yeah.
it up.
I would love to hear the two of them talk about how they came to that determination while in the ring in front of the crowd.
Yeah, well, it's crazy.
Well, I guess if the crowd's hooting and hollering and whatnot, they're not necessarily mic'd.
No, I know that,
Right,
but
so-
still, like,
They could be.
oh,
they
I
could
guess
be-
maybe they're grabbing, going, hey, you know what?
Well,
Let's
yeah.
change. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotcha,
even
I
still,
gotcha.
once they walk close to each other, there's little microphones. The crowd's going nuts.
Yeah.
Nobody can hear whatever the
as
fuck
long
they're saying.
as okay,
Right, so they could say whatever they want. They do the angry face.
Yeah,
You know, they're really
yeah.
mad. Hey, what I'm going to do to you right now, okay? We're
Yeah.
going to change this up right. You know, whatever. That's
brother.
I still would love to hear him talk about
Okay.
it.
Me
The
too.
Rock.
Me too.
I know they're probably not allowed to by contract. Like, even though we all know it's not real, it's not like they start off that everybody don't worry, this is all fake.
Yeah,
no. They get the style, the theme. Everybody gets
For
into
sure.
it on that concept, and we all know back here, yeah,
Sure.
this shit ain't real. But still,
But then you see things and you're like, how do they clear this? And I just don't know.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this. In a way, I could bring up an example like the shit that Mankind would do.
That's a great example. Even recently in
Or
AEW.
Mick Foley in general.
See, I wouldn't have brought up Mick Foley only because I would have thought it was more the 90s, early 2000s, different times or whatever. But I think you're right. How the hell they let that go? But
Well,
also,
I'm thinking also the fact that that's fucking real.
that is real. You're
What-
falling off a
like,
fucking cage.
Yeah.
I don't care if there's an air mattress under the desk or whatever.
No, you're
I don't-
falling
You're
like
still falling. Like
20, 30 feet,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got to get up and do it again.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
And
like,
he did
you know what
it-
I'm talking about?
not entirely, but I get a grokky. I understand it. Yeah.
There's a
I
hell
think
of a
moves
he,
things.
he definitely put himself in harm's way more than a lot of other wrestlers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She said he paved the way for a lot of guys, and I mean guys before him paved the way,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it goes. But there was even recently some
The
wrestler.
thing that pops in my head, just to,
Oh,
while
sure.
you're thinking of the
Yeah.
wrestler, is even when I was going to that live show, that table,
oh yeah, great example with
the table
Tyson
that
Dukes.
would not break, and they kept throwing each other
Oh
on
my
this
God.
fucking table.
That would hurt.
They tried it like 3 times on the outside, 2 times on the inside. Finally, like the 6th time, they broke it. And the
Well,
crowd-
Was
But-
it the wrong? Was it the wrong table?
No, it was just a moment, I think. Because
it
what I
wasn't
really,
one that had already been scored.
I can't
know.
speak, but even they, by that last moment, we and they were all the, come on, it'll break.
You can do it. You can do it.
We all knew
And the crowd
why
just
it kept
lost
going.
their shit, right? Shout out to Tyson Dukes for that match.
That was a
that
fun
was
one.
him. He was the pillars of that.
sorry.
But no, it's okay. Recently, and that's a great example because that was right by the crowd. Like a lot of that shit was all crowd interactive.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then recently, there's a heel that I saw on. If you don't know what a heel is, a heel is a bad guy. A face is a good guy in
You're a
wrestling.
bad guy.
I'm going to say there was a heel. Okay.
Yeah, a heel, yeah.
I got one.
There was a
Two.
heel
Of
who was
bread.
like, they threw like a wrestler into the crowd onto actual audience members, and then there was another one where he kicked the gate at an audience member, and he's like, I get that you want to mouth off, but it's like when you get physical with them, I'm like, they're not plants. You can tell who the plant is and who's
Okay,
not.
I was gonna say because I've seen a lot where there's they get thrown on a dude or something like that, and it's like this is like some guy who wants to be. He's like he's
Yeah.
the intern.
For sure.
I want to be a wrestler, but you're not gonna pay me. So
Yeah.
put me in the stands and I'll
do whatever.
people thrown at me.
Exactly. But this was not that. And I'm like, well, how do they clear that? Like, how do they? Because there was an incident in an indie show. I don't know.
I think you just said the magic word, but continue.
What, indie?
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, AEW is not indie, and neither is WWE. That's why we're figuring how the fuck they get clearance for that. But there's this one incident where, and I mean, just because you're a fan doesn't mean you get to be a dick. You got to say something? Go ahead.
No, continue. Because I like, it's going to a mosh pit.
Yeah.
You're in
You
the,
go
fr-
to-
when you're going to
Yeah,
a concert
I guess
of
so.
heavy metal, and
I've
you're
heard
like,
of bands being sued because of that. Because of
Really?
people getting hurt
Trampled?
really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
in a
sorry.
mosh
If I
pit?
was going to a heavy metal concert, I will be honest. I would not go to the mosh pit.
No mosh pitting anymore.
Oh fuck no! Even back when I was younger, no, not at a heavy
Probably,
metal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
If it was
Wasn't
like a '60s band, all right, I'll go to a mosh pit there.
Sure.
I'll go bounce because that was what a mosh pit was back then. But now,
True.
like, the one thing, my perception is that in those mosh pit styles, you know when it's about to start, and generally the people in there will start to, hey, I'm about to mosh, get
Yeah.
the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the one difference
There's
though with
warning.
wrestling, you're paying for that seat. I guess that is a
That
difference.
is a little true, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there is some sort of, because you're sitting in that seat, there's a waiver that gets
you
passed
sign.
out.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. So this is the incident I want to touch
Sorry,
on.
yes.
It's
Continue
okay.
with your incident. Come on,
an
speak of it already.
An indie thing where
Well, actually, what we really
ha ha.
okay, I'm done.
A heel female wrestler came out, and Buddy was just like in the crowd, was just like saying horrible shit to her, like vile shit to her, because she's the bad guy, and that's what you do, right? You go boo and you say
Gotcha,
whatever,
gotcha.
like. And I guess there might have been I don't know if it was the physical altercation, but they ended up, one of the wrestlers, who's also one of the bookers, was this guy's girlfriend, and pulled him in the back and basically said, "You treat a lady with respect," and all sort of shit. I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. Like, you can't be mad at a fan for being a fan. Right? Like, how can you sit there and tell them? I don't know. It's a weird interaction between wrestlers and their fans. It's just a very strange thing, and I don't know how they pull it off sometimes.
I can't speak to it. I don't know.
Like, this guy legit kicked the barrier into a fan. I'm like, I mean, and the fan was just talking to his buddy. He's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it happened." I'm like, oh, that's a wrestling fan right there. I was thinking also too,
Reminds me of a scene in a movie.
I was just thinking of Red Rumble.
Yeah,
It was like, "Oh, punch me."
yeah, he does in the blood. I always remember that one. That's what's popped out of my head too.
That's
Shit.
Not too many
Well,
wrestling movies, but
I guess if it's what's the word I'm looking for? Asked for. But there's more of it.
Well, no, and that is one thing. Like the description of what you had, is it right for the wrestler to do? Well, maybe not, but when the fan is there in the face, yeah, but then also, I don't know, it's easy for me to say, like, dude, what the fuck, who cares?
for sure, yeah.
But, hey, he went in, had it, doesn't sound like he got sued or beaten up by the person. Well,
That's true. Now AEW did something that nobody ever thought was possible.
Consent.
They did consent. They did
Consent. That was the word I was looking for.
okay, I was going to say, I was wondering where we were going with this.
Consent.
Okay.
If it was consensual.
AJ, consent is when both of you understand.
No, I know what happens when mommy and daddy play wrestling in the bedroom. Come on now.
Trying to jump over Mummy, but he can't quite make it over. Yeah, consent is the right word for that. Absolutely. AEW's done something that no one ever thought possible, and that was they signed CM Punk, who, if you don't know who CM Punk is, CM Punk was considered the voice of the voiceless because of the way he was treated and exited the WWE. He's famous for, it's called a pipe bomb promo that he did, where he sat down in a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt and basically just shat on WWE and all the practices backstage. This was years ago. This was like, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And very
10
famous.
years ago.
11 years ago.
24 years ago.
12.
Yeah. It's very famous to the point where it was one of those last things where people were like, did he really mean that? Or like, was that scripted? You know what I mean? Like, it was it was delivered so well that a lot of people, like, they don't know if he was being truthful or not. And then they did a whole thing where they cut the mic off at the end and everything to make it look real.
Gotcha.
Far be it to say, he ended up wrestling for a couple more years before shit went downhill and he got out. He settled with WWE and got his money because they did not treat him very well. Everybody thought he was never wrestling again because it just was never going to happen. And then they fucking signed him. And then he showed up for whatever show it was in Chicago, I think last month. That was the craziest pop I've ever seen in my life. Like, Led Zeppelin would get a pop like that. Like, the crowd screamed for like 20 minutes straight.
Nice.
Just screaming for this guy. And now he's, back wrestling and with all this young talent. That's a big deal to be able to pull in some guy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could pull out of some guy too, but sorry, I couldn't resist.
I know you can't resist, Chris.
Pull in pull in a very prominent wrestler, and when other companies couldn't do it. I think that's a lot about relationships.
I'd say they did it with Sting as well, because he wasn't really
Sting's
doing
another one.
much of anything until.
And he also got he got kind of treated like shit by WWE.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. Sorry, we're gonna say, Dave.
No, I'm just the way you went through that whole description.
Uh-huh.
You are a super fan.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
aware.
Oh yeah.
I'm aware. I feel bad for my wife, and I might have mentioned this before because she had no idea I was a wrestling fan before when we met.
Oh,
And it was because I dropped off. Like I hadn't watched wrestling for
yeah,
like
fair. Yeah.
like a decade almost.
Yeah.
Like when did I watch it when I lived on Stanley? Like
Oh, I don't
never,
remember.
yeah,
Fuck.
never happened.
I don't think you had the telly back then, did you?
I did, but
Oh,
no,
for the
but
games.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, for me, like I was a lapsed fan. I was like, fuck it, I don't want to watch it. It was shitty, and it was
Yeah.
shitty, so I stopped watching it. And I think every fan of whatever you're a fan of goes through that.
Yep.
And then,
That's
yeah,
Go Leafs, go,
go, let's go.
please, this year.
Please this year. Yeah. No, Amazon, no more making fucking documentaries about the Leafs until they win. Okay. Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's annoying.
Yeah. Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos. Go back to space. Space. Take us with you. Let's go with that.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
But I was a last fan, and then yeah, like almost immediately after we got back from our honeymoon, a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you got to check out this stuff." It wasn't AEW stuff. It was other I don't know what it was. Independent stuff, whatever.
Wrestling stuffs.
And yeah, I was like immediately hooked pretty much right after. It
Nice.
was nuts. And
Hey,
she's
kick-ass,
like,
chew
if I would have
bubblegum.
known, I don't know if I would have married you.
Do
What
you
if
have
I-
wrestling socks? Like socks with wrestlers on them?
No, I do
Do
not.
you have underpants?
I do not.
He's lying.
I don't have any.
He's
Oh,
lying.
he doesn't have
I
any
wrestle
underpants.
naked,
Yeah, I'm
AJ.
just saying.
He doesn't have
I wrestle
underpants.
That's why we have the
I
table
meant
in the
like,
way.
you know,
Only-
like you have T-shirts with wrestling
Only-
logos and such. I was
Sure.
wondering if you had like
Other
underpants.
apparel? No.
That's
I'm
an
just curious.
interesting
I do have
question.
I do have a
How
pair
far
of
a super fan he is.
I have a
Just
two
like-
pair two luchador masks. I do have those. Absolutely. 'cause I'm
And
a
you didn't
big
bring.
fan.
a
I know,
luchador
crazy,
mask
right?
Today?
I'm a big fan of Mexican wrestling and a big fan of Japanese wrestling. Those are my two favorite styles of wrestling.
Nice.
For sure. 1,000%. American wrestling's good. Canadian is good because of the grit. But I don't know. The Japanese and the Mexicans, the way they do it, is just really cool. I
So,
like
like,
what they do.
Sumo
Nice.
wrestling.
Yeah, I like sumo wrestling too, actually, believe it or not. But and there's an actual like it's legit. It's not predetermined. If you actually
Yeah,
that's
that's
true too.
that's
though.
a-
That's more.
That's
of a,
real.
yeah.
That's
and
more of on the part with like boxing.
And those
Yes.
dudes do not fuck around. Those
Oh, no.
sumo wrestlers are not a joke. Like
No, it's very. It's. I've watched a few documentaries on how they live as well.
yeah,
Not just the wrestling part of it, but how they live and how they. It's a discipline. It's really a huge discipline.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotta live that size. I mean, yeah, it better be.
and they're like
Yeah.
rock stars, man.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
like fucking rock stars in Japan for sure.
Same thing about the way they treat wrestlers in Japan versus here.
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's
like wrestling wrestlers.
like wrestling wrestlers. Yeah. Like there's like you wrestle here. You know, you do your thing, you make your money, you go home, and you know it's your life. And then you travel around to your different venues depending on how popular you are or which company you
Mhm.
work for. That's kind of how it is. And yeah, that works the same in Japan. But if you're like a popular guy, very much the rock star treatment, where there'll be like independent benefactors or people that are just a big fan of yours, and they want to wine and dine you out on the town, and they take you out.
That seems like a very Asian sort of thing, though. Like when you're on the top echelon of your craft.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are crafts just like in North America that there are in Asia where it's kind of looked down upon more so, right?
Wrestling's
they're-
not in Japan.
Where even if you get to top
Hmm.
echelon,
Yeah.
you just whatever, who cares?
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah, wrestling is different in Japan than it is here.
Yeah.
Like when you watch New Japan, it's like the crowd's like this.
Oh,
Like they're very into it, very polite in the
Oh,
way
really?
they're. Oh yeah, they're
Really?
very different
There's no, like,
experience. No, nothing like that. Like they respect it. They know it's a show. They know it is, but they love the show that's being put on,
Yeah, nice.
and they treat it very. It's a much.
I
say it,
have to
classier
admit,
affair.
I'd want to go to one of those in Japan and be that asshole in the back,
Oh,
just
yeah.
yelling and screaming.
come on!
Yeah.
Oh, that's super Canadian.
No. I put on an American jersey or something.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
fuck that. I'm not gonna shame Canada like that.
No. I'll just say I'm American.
Absolutely, yeah.
Figures.
And make sure you're drinking a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. Now, the other one big thing that AEW's done that it seems like it should have been a no-brainer because it was like this way back in the day, but I don't know, it just hasn't happened because the WWE's ruled the roost for so long. Again, talk about that in Japan. AEW is kind of what they call open the forbidden door, and they've had wrestlers from other promotions, from New Japan and other places, come wrestle in AEW, and they've also had their guys go out and wrestle in other promotions as well.
Is it only WWE forbidden though? Like
It seems like,
do you
yeah.
think, do you think other more independent companies would do the same thing, like have a crossover between
Great point.
Wisconsin wrestling and
I would if I was there.
Michigan wrestling, and then they
I would.
Yeah.
had a
Great point. Yes, that does happen. In fact, I got to go see Smash, which we got to go see, versus CZW, which
okay.
is
See, I know what Smash is. 'cause
Yeah.
They did the thing here.
and you know
John
John Moxley, the wrestler John Moxley from
I
AEW.
don't know names.
Oh, Dean Ambrose. He used to be known as Dean Ambrose. No, whatever.
No.
Anyways, he was AEW champion. He started in CZW, and not that I saw him there. I saw a bunch of other wrestlers, but those companies got together. That does happen on the independent level, absolutely. But to happen on this level, it hasn't happened in a long time. And to Dave's point earlier, what typically happens with the WWE is they just buy the promotion.
Yeah.
And they
Well, they
turn
did
it
that
out.
with WCW.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they did that so they got really scared a little while back. And when they were scared of the British scene, because the Britain has a pretty prominent wrestling scene. And what they did was, they bought up all that talent and started WWE NXT UK, which is their brand of that.
Okay.
And the
Gotcha.
thing is, it's good, but it's WWE style. So if you're going to see one of those independent promotion styles, you're not going to see that anymore.
Right.
You might see those wrestlers, but you're not going to see that style anymore, which, it's good, bad, or otherwise. It depends on which way you look at it. But there's no way you would ever see, if The Rock was still wrestling, The Rock wrestle for Ring of Honor or New Japan. That would never happen. In fact, before Bryan Danielson, known as Daniel Bryan at WWE, before he went to AEW, he was in contract negotiations, and one of the things he wanted to do was wrestle in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Gotcha.
They were going to allow that for him to accommodate because they didn't want to lose him in the contract, but it worked out that they didn't get him. So that was a very special request to allow one of their guys to go and do that. Outside of that, that never happens. So the fact that AEW is doing that with these companies, with a Canadian company known as Impact, with New Japan, I think there's AAA in Mexico, and I'm sure there's going to be more. Like, all they're doing is just opening up the world of wrestling to everybody. So if you're watching AEW and you don't know any of these other companies, all of a sudden you're like, shit, I like that guy. What the hell? What Impact? Who was an Impact World Champion? And then you start to watch their product too. I think it's a clever way to make money.
Well, no, that's where I was going to
Everybody,
go with this. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the idea that they're doing that intertwining, but in the end, and I'm not knocking this, it's about good business.
It is about good business.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
you're taking this group here, and you intermix. And to be honest, if I was part of this business, I would we have this intermixtion, so that way, maybe we have this person, like, just be a complete jerk ass and ruin this person just because.
Yep.
And then we stir up this thing.
Yeah.
And we get them back together later on somehow.
There you go.
And now there's a story, and that's what I mean.
I think there's a future as a wrestling booker in your.
There's always
pretty Dave.
there's always a tag team match between the two people who don't like each other, and then they become best friends and have tea.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the problem.
They have to have tea though.
I'm so.
But
That's
and
of
crumpets.
course they do. But
Well,
that is a
crumpets is
very
optional, but
that is
tea,
a very
yeah.
WWE mentality. It's funny you say that because in WWE, for whatever reason, they are not fans of tag teams. If you go look at anything, they do not treat tag teams well at all, and very rarely do tag teams stay together for any real length of time.
I'm okay with that. I don't be wrong. You do need to have the team that's working together.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't actually seen a tag team wrestling in a while. I have to admit this, but it's one of those things.
I got a match for you. Then
They always bored me.
Oh, I got a match for you.
Because it was just, one guy would be on the ground, he's about to go out, then the other guy jumps in, knocks him off, the referee steps, hey, you're not supposed to be in here, and then there's smacking, and it's just one of those, I've seen that so
Lame.
many-
I know.
There's always that whole.
Yeah.
I don't. I guess because it's predetermined.
And I'm
there
not an
are-
expert,
There are no
but-
real rules.
It's
right?
not
That's
about
why
rules.
the
The
other
rules
guy.
they make
story.
up.
But
Yeah.
that's why the other guy can go in the ring and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna punch you out when he." hasn't
Yeah,
been
like if that
tagged,"
happened
but
in a
then-
real
Sure.
match, like, come
They
on,
do
no, you're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the
Hell out.
fuck out. You're done. You
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway.
No, I hear you. Yeah, but the thing is, if you allowed wrestlers to be a tag team and say let that be their specialty for longer than, I don't know, a few months, you might actually develop some matches that aren't that cookie
Maybe.
cutter.
Maybe.
In fact, The point, Young Bucks, got to be the best tag team. Gotta be.
Better than Demolition?
1,000%.
Better than
Not
Legion
even
of
question.
Doom? Come on.
No, I'm afraid
on.
you're wrong. They are. They cannot be the greatest.
Who is?
I can't actually name any.
Oh,
Better than Snoop Dogg?
no one's better than Snoop Dogg. But
Oh no, they can't be the rapper group they did the one taggy team thing way back in the day on the wrestling.
rap group.
The Clowns,
Oh, Insane
ICP.
Clown Posse.
ICP.
Yeah, that was great. With the oddities. Holy
Yeah.
shit, I remember that.
That's
Whoa.
going
Did
back.
this have anything to do
Fuck.
with Doink and Dink?
I don't think so. No, I think
No.
it was after that time. I think so. That was in
Okay.
the mid to late 90s, I think is what it is.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't remember the
Oh,
exact.
yeah.
I just remember. Yeah, I
That's
was
so
just
ridiculous. No, the Young Bucks are different, and they honestly, I got a match for you. You need to watch a cage match that have it all in between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. You like the Lucha Brothers?
That looks like a rocker shirt.
Oh, they're very big fans of the Rockers. Yes, that's why.
Because of the colors and the
Streamers.
The streamers, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I do have a question about this thing.
Sure.
So for the cage match,
Mhm.
were all four in the match at
Yes,
once? See, that is why that was exciting.
that's exactly why that's
Because
exciting.
of course, 4 people going at it in there. Yeah, there's a team.
Oh, like
But-
that one match where they had the 2 rings side by side, and it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
20 gajillion guys, and they're all beating each other up.
Yeah, you like that match?
Yeah, it was, that
pretty
was-
good, eh?
That was intense.
I agree. They did a really good job.
Yeah,
of
things like that. I can't remember what they used to call that in the WWF world.
that. So
Royal Rumbles or something.
No, that one would have been called with the rings and the cages together. That was called War Games. And AEW's called.
No, I'm thinking of something else.
But you're thinking of the Royal Rumble when everybody gets together.
Yeah.
Or Hell in a Cell. You're thinking of Hell in a Cell.
no cells. Just
Oh,
every
yeah, Royal Rumble.
every 30 seconds somebody new would
Elimination
jump in.
Chamber, where they have the chambers on the side of the cage.
No cages.
Oh, no
I'm going way
He
back.
already said no cage.
You keep
No,
bringing
it
up
is-
cages.
It is Royal Rumble. It's
Yeah.
the
It
is
where
Royal
you
Rumble,
got to
yes.
throw him over the top rope.
Yeah,
Yes,
as soon
yes,
as you're
yes.
out of the ring, you're done, and that was always the big thing. Where every minute somebody new jumps in, and
Right.
it was always I can't remember which one it was. I always remember that one where somebody famous jumps in and immediately gets knocked out, and everybody basically stops and goes. And again, it's one of those things.
Yeah, thank
Maybe it was a oops.
Yeah. But it was.
But at any rate, it
Thank
was
you.
just I always remember enjoying that.
Yeah, those are fun.
I
Yeah.
must be aging myself.
You
though,
must-
'cause
no,
you
but-
keep bringing up a cage.
I
I'm like,
know,
no,
sorry,
no
dude.
fucking cages.
I get all
Why do
excited.
they keep putting people in jail and by making them fight? What is this? This Thunderdome?
What is this, a Punjabi prison match? Craziness. It sounds to me that you're a fan of like gimmick matches, like matches that are outside of what your traditional.
I would say I'm not a
wrestling
fan
match.
of anything, but those are the ones I remember as a kid.
Okay, all
not
right.
a
In
fan.
full,
Anyway.
I'm sorry, shit. That came off a little rougher than I
I'm
meant.
not a fan of anything.
Yeah,
I don't
thanks,
fucking like it.
thanks, jerk. Thanks.
That's not entirely what I meant, but I understand. Yeah, oops.
Not a fan of any one thing.
I'm not
I
a fan
guess.
of the. I am not. I can't dive into the wrestling.
Yeah.
Once I watched that 1 hour, no, I didn't
That
have
was
any.
enough.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
The cup
You
was
didn't
full.
need to.
Yeah, I
cup
didn't
was
need.
full.
Don't get me. But as I said, don't get me wrong. If it was ever hey, they start to do the live thing here in town
Oh,
again,
sure.
I would go and see it again. It was a fun.
Oh, we're
thing.
going.
Well, how was
AEW
your
comes.
experience going to see the IW? The hour in,
yeah,
in Florida.
I saw their homecoming on was it January 1st, 2020, 2021.
care when.
I'm
I
not
asked you
21.
how it was.
It was awesome.
Year's
It
Day,
was
you mean.
really, really great. Yeah, it was New Year's Day. Yeah. Thanks. It was like live wrestling's great and the indie shows are awesome.
Sorry.
But when they put in the production like this, and we got to see it at Daly's Place,
Right.
which is supposed to be like if you just watch the South Park episode about wrestling, it's supposed to be designed in the same way of this like Coliseum kind of effect.
It's honestly, it's a brilliant way to present that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
yeah.
really, really smart way to do it.
You know what? I'd like to see a lot of different shows there at that venue, just because of the way that's set up, and you could throw people in the back to do a concert. And
I was
other
going to say
things.
concert
Oh, yeah.
would be really cool.
Be a
too.
lot of fun. But yeah, like it was great to be a part of that crowd. Thankfully, it's outdoors, technically speaking, so it's not smelly,
Mhm.
which can be a thing when you go to wrestling shows.
Oh
Unfortunately,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. $11 a beer. You know, that's your average price when you
No.
go to these things.
No.
Right?
That was American though.
That's American.
Yeah,
And
shit.
that's probably about $9. a
And
beer,
an
probably
American
$9.
beer.
An American beer, yeah. But I mean, they put a really great show together. I would like to go now because now that they have their internet shows, I think you get a lot more bang for your buck. So they usually they did this for us too. They did like an hour set of wrestling before the actual show, and I think an hour after the show. Now they're like you're going to like 5 hour plus shows because what they'll do is they'll do like 2 hours beforehand.
Wow.
They'll probably if they need to, they'll do something afterwards.
Of like people you actually want to see, or like
yeah, usually. Well, they'll
That
do.
makes probably.
Well, what they'll do, they'll do somebody versus a nobody sort of thing, right? Because you gotta build up your talent, right?
Yeah.
So they'll bring this person in to kind of help develop this guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
kind of what you see, and then sometimes you'll get like a big marquee match or mid card kind of match, and then you get your actual show with all your storylines, all that sort of shit. And then they'll wrestle
okay.
again. Yeah,
See, I think I would like the time before and the time after more so.
You might, yeah.
But that's one thing I definitely. I can't say I like it, but it's more tolerable than WWE would be the storylines
Yeah.
that are going on.
You don't feel offended by them?
I don't feel like they're trying too hard. It's almost like they're trying
very
just hard
observation.
enough.
Yeah.
Whereas with WWE, it got to a point where it was literally like watching Young and the Restless, but with fighting.
Yeah.
Like the terrible acting and bad camera work and horrible writing and horrible storylines.
And a wedding every few months, typically speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember those.
Back in the day,
Okay.
so many fucking wrestling weddings.
Miss Elizabeth
Elizabeth, that was a
and Scary Sherry.
Oh, for sure.
I like the name.
Oh yeah, she's great.
But
Great.
but yeah, I find that there's I guess less focus on that part with AEW. Like there is still a little bit of that goofy shit,
Sure.
but not like they're trying to be a TV show. Not like they're
It's not
trying
the
to be
focus.
a soap opera.
Yeah, the
Right.
wrestling's still the
Right.
focus, not
Yeah.
that. Gotcha.
I think that's a testament to the fact that they don't have an actual writer's room. There's nobody writing the shows out for them
Oh,
per se. Well, there's a booker.
I would say there has to
Obviously,
be
there's a booker,
somebody
yeah.
managing.
There's somebody
it.
that's booking stuff, but you're responsible for your own creative element.
so you go up to like the person backstage and be like, "Hey, you want to be in a fight?"
Wouldn't go like that, but it's more like this. Okay, I'll give you an example. There's a tag team in AEW that used to be in WWE called they were called the Revival in WWE. Now they're called FTR. Their whole thing, their whole gimmick is no flips, just fists. They're a very old school tag team. They want to be known as like the Four Horsemen, like Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. Like they want to be known as these old school kind of dudes. That's their whole gimmick. That's the way they've been ever since they got to WWE. Do you think that's what the WWE did with them when they finally got to the main roster? No, they started putting in this gimmick and that gimmick and trying to make them comedy acts and this, that, and the other thing. It's like why are you doing that when like that's not who they are, right? That's not like it's. And of course you're going to try to make it work because that's your job, right? Your job is to do what you're told to do, right? Finish. When you go to AEW, that was never a factor. Like they've been in charge of their entire creative endeavor moving forward. Do they get tips and do they get like nods from the boss? Of course they do.
Mhm.
But nobody's telling them what they should do or what they have to do.
So
Here's what you
it's
gotta do.
almost like WWE fucks with the sport aspect of it as well and just tries to make it gimmicky and entertaining. Whereas AEW, once you get to the ring, now it's dance fighting
Now it's dance fighting.
as
Absolutely.
opposed to yeah, okay, I get.
Yeah. So for hopefully that brings some things into context for you. WWE is known as sports entertainment.
Right.
That's what they know themselves as.
Entertainment sports.
Entertainment sports, exactly. Emphasis on the entertainment. They have also gone on the record as saying their whole job now is to produce content. That is it.
Right.
Whereas AEW and virtually every other wrestling company out there calls itself a professional wrestling company. So there's a difference.
I don't know if I'd call it professional wrestling.
Oh no, they're professionals.
Yeah.
I'll give.
Yeah, sure.
But what about the guys who are like going and like winning gold medals and shit? Wouldn't that be more professional?
No, that'd be amateurs because you're not allowed to win medals and
It's
such
actually true. Yeah.
if
can't
you
go to the
are
Olympics if you're
earning
broke.
money.
It's always been
such
the
business.
NHL
What about
thing.
that
Absolutely.
Kurt Angle fella?
Kurt Angle wrestled for the U.S. Olympics before he became a pro wrestler.
Oh.
He did it with a broken freaking neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like that's one thing I have to admit. I am. I get in trouble for saying this. I am behind the. I'll pick on the NHL. No, NHL players should not be in the Olympics.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree
Give
that.
the amateurs a chance.
Well, I feel like that's what it should. Yeah, I feel like that's what it should be for.
Well, I mean, we can go all day about the Olympics. I think they probably should be stopped. But we're not going to get into that.
It should be people. I mean, again, can't say that hockey players don't love doing it, but there's money involved. There's
Of course.
there's a bribe to do it.
No. I don't. And again, I don't think any hockey players in the NHL do it only because of the bribes or anything of this nature. It's just they are pros. And again, it's always been my perspective is that when it comes to Olympics, it's never supposed to be somebody that has piles and piles of cash and that's their career.
It's your independent.
With support, yes. With
'Cause I don't want to say amateur, because some of those people could probably blow the doors off of a professional somebody.
Yeah. Oh God, hell
sure.
yeah. Yeah, and I would like to point out that pretty much every single person, even the peeps that are in the gymnastics, I'll pick on that one for a moment. They could kick my ass easy.
Oh, right,
Sure.
right.
Not at gymnastics, but
Oh hell yeah, they could kick my ass.
I'd say I have some form of respect for. I don't watch the Olympics, but I have respect for probably all of the events that go on.
oh sure, yeah.
Just because of the talent it would take to
Oh hell yeah.
to do such things.
I got mad respect for athletes, even those that dope, which is pretty much all of them. But I have a horrible, horrible, horrible hatred for the Olympic Committee. And it's the same hatred that I have for the NCAA. It's you're building this business on the backs of amateurs, but you don't give them any money for it.
That is a
That's fair.
Case in
That was
point,
a
do you
South
know who
Park
gives?
episode.
It sure was. Do you know who does give them money? Like not the NCAA, the Olympics. If you win, your country is responsible for providing you with whatever top prize.
so they don't give. I would say they
the
get
medals
money
they
from
get.
sponsorship and stuff like that. Though.
Yes.
Like if
Yeah,
if
but
they're
that's not
featured
on
in a commercial or
but
something.
the thing is,
Yes.
that's not like on the Olympic Committee. It's not like the Olympic
No.
Committee sets you up with a sponsorship. They're
yeah,
no.
that's
They're
true.
making
You have
fucking
to
money.
do well.
And the doping, everything, all of it is just it's just a sham.
We've
It's just a sham.
Triggered them.
I'm not
have.
very happy with it. Like, and
we
it
need to
sucks.
have it. I
We've
maybe
We
triggered
should
Chris over the
because
Olympics.
I love the events and I love the athletes. I love it. I think it's great for us to have this idea that we have an event where we bring our best physical attributed humans together to compete. I think that's fucking awesome. Why do we got to taint it with such shit? All about
because
making
it's
that
money.
I know that's the problem. So that brings me to my point about AEW and WWE for a quick second. I think I could be wrong.
I don't want to talk about that. Like,
No,
come on, let's talk about the
Olympics.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
I think what separates them, and if you in the comments, if you're a wrestling fan, please by all means come and correct me, is yes, they're both trying to make money, WWE and AEW. Oh, of
Yeah.
course they are. That's the whole point of this
Yes,
business.
It's a
right?
business.
Well,
Of course.
yes.
However, I don't think AEW's sole focus is profit. Like they know they're going to make profit, they're going to get profit,
Okay.
but the way they design things, it's more about creating an entertaining element, knowing full well that's going to bring you profit versus trying to design your shit to maximize whatever profit you're going to get.
$11 beers definitely sounds like
Oh, sure.
I want to make profit.
For sure. Well, that unfortunately, I mean, in that particular circumstance, it can be blamed on them because they own the venue as well. However, with a traveling show, you can't predict.
What
but-
about merchandise? I bet you that shirt was $35.
No, I paid $25 for it.
It's still too much for a damn t-shirt. And I'm in a band who tries to sell t-shirts.
I hear you. It's a lot, but I mean, yeah, merch is merch. right?
merch is merch. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one I would never knock anything because that happens
No,
everywhere.
That's everywhere. Right?
That's a thing.
I guess we're all guilty.
for sure. But
No.
like you see the WWE do that all the time.
I don't think I've ever bought a merch shirt.
ever.
Ever.
But you bought
Wait,
merch.
leave
You
this
bought a
hat.
hat.
Nope, that was given to me.
Oh, there you go. That's
Wow.
Yeah.
I
It
guess
was
true-
given.
Dave's the exception
In
to the
true
rule.
cheap ass Dave fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
If I happen to see that type of shirt at the second handy store, then sure I'll buy
Of course you will. I'm sure you can find a lot of 90s wrestling shirts.
It's actually
there.
funny on that
yeah,
topic.
probably. Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, yeah.
An
So
old
cold.
coworker out of the blue shared a picture. He goes, "I just wanted to share it. I stumbled across it and I was laughing because like shit, I'm wearing that same shirt right now." And this picture was from like 7 years ago.
Oh my word!
Yes,
That's
I've had this
amazing.
shirt for 7-ish years.
That's
Oh, wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I think that's really what's kind of separating them at the moment. Now, I mean, you always go,
Like,
well,
back on your topic.
of course, I know. What's that line from The Dark Knight? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I'm sure the same is going to be true with
Gotcha.
AEW. I'm sure that right now they look like the darlings of the industry. However,
Oh no,
things
it's just
happen.
a different style, different. And again, it's humans being human. Like,
it's
you know,
true, yeah.
it's one of those things of the WWE's been around so long that it just feels so organized, so proper, so pathy, and so
Yeah.
everybody's getting kind of bored of it. And
It's
so
all
when something
processed.
comes in and just
It's
a
like
little bit of a spin to it.
it's like McDonald's versus your local burger joint.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
They did one of the coolest things that AEW did was one of my favorite wrestlers, and what we tribute to every episode is Brody Lee, who was with WWE for a while, and I've seen WWE. Basically, Brody Lee passed away. That's what happened. He had a horrible illness, and nobody knew about it, and he died. Shock. Sucks.
This was recent too.
This
wasn't
is
it?
recent. Yeah, this was earlier. It was a few months after we went to the show. So when he was when they do tribute shows with WWE, I mean they do the like 10 bell salute, and they try to kind of show
Gotcha.
some love to,
Yeah.
to the wrestler and stuff, but then they kind of get on with the show. AEW, first off, this is crazy, and I don't know how the fuck this happens in today's day and age, or in today in that world. The whole crew and cast, call it cast, I guess you call it cast.
The wrestlers?
The wrestlers, yeah.
The roster.
We're all informed of him being ill when he was ill. I think a few weeks before he passed, and everybody thought, well, someone's going to leak this. This is going to get out to the public, and not a
Gotcha.
single one of them did. Nobody did. Nobody told a word. That they had that much respect for
Cool.
Brody Lee's family to not do that. And then they had a tribute show for him in which he has a group called the Dark Order. The whole kind of gimmick for the night is the Dark Order would win every match. It's kind of what they did. But then they did things like they included his son. His name, it goes by the -1, which I think is kind of funny. But because he's just a little kid. He's like 10 years old. But he's
Okay.
a massive wrestling fan. And what does Tony Khan, the bankroller, do? He fucking gives him a contract. So when he's of age to be able to do this, that kid can start wrestling. And he's around them all the time. He's like a part of the business where he's learning, kind of developing a wrestling mind at such a young age. And I guess they've done everything they possibly could for this family to make sure that they don't, go through such a hard time. And in fact, Rochester, New York, where he was originally from, they just had a show there, I think a few weeks back. They had like another kind of tribute show because they were hoping to have him on when they were to debut in his hometown. That obviously happened because of the pandemic.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, and they did another one, and like the place just kind of blew up. So it just shows like they've got a lot of heart and a lot of care in the way they treat their own.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
it seems like that. It definitely doesn't seem like you're working for a production company.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas WWE, like you were saying, it's streamlined. It's this.
Yeah.
It's
It's a business.
yeah. Whereas the AEW seems more like
Family business.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
people
That's the
doing
way, yeah.
people doing the same thing out of the love of doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of, oh, I got to do this because I have to do it. No, it's like you want to do it because you love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just really cool. And like, I never thought I'd be this big of a fanboy for a wrestling company because as much as I like wrestling, I haven't watched WWE with the exception of a few rare occurrences for a very long time. When there was no AEW, I was happy to watch New Japan, but I am sucky with Japanese commentary, so so I didn't watch a lot.
Is there old Japan wrestling?
There is All Japan Wrestling.
Is
yeah.
there?
Yep. There's also Dragon Gate. There's also what else we got? Shimmer. We got. I'm trying to think of the other ones.
Again,
It's a lot.
I was kind of making a joke.
Nope. No joke.
It's kind
There is
of
All
like
Japan Wrestling.
if there's New York, was there Old York?
I know. It has been Old York, yeah. And then AEW hooked me. Like they are fucking putting on one fine of a product, and I can't stop.
Are you getting paid for this advertisement?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Is this sponsored? Have
I'm
you told
getting-
us something that we don't?
I'm getting
have you
paid in
not told us
t-shirts.
anything?
That's what's happening here. Every time I say AEW, they send me a new Young Bucks t-shirt or something. So, but, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cool.
wrestling. You guys want to talk about anything else wrestling related? No?
Nothing for me.
All
I
right,
think.
okay.
We have a choice.
No, sit down, shut up.
No, like I said, I can't say I don't respect the physicality that goes behind it,
That is true.
but it's
It's not a me thing.
it's always the presentation I think that bothers me.
Gotcha.
That I'm just not into it.
I can feel that. I appreciate it.
And with AEW, it is one of those more tolerable things. Like you're saying, I don't think I'd be able to sit through a WWE show.
Yeah, no, it's really hard.
Sounds like we need some free tickets to in person really identify and understand
Yeah, you for tickets,
stuff. I don't know.
someone
And a
give us
beer or two. $11 or something. Shit.
$11. Craziness.
Fuck.
It's bonkers, eh? Bonkers. Yeah. Listen, I am fortunate to be a fan and love it, but also to have good friends who are willing to fucking put up with it and watch it along with me. I like.
Hey,
If
just as long as you're willing to put up with the ribbon about it, then
Oh,
yeah,
why
whatever.
not?
Like I am aware of the beast that I'm on.
And
okay?
you don't charge $11 for your
I do
beers.
not.
That's true.
No,
That's true.
Definitely not.
He shares.
He
I
does.
definitely
It's quite
share. I
nice.
definitely
Up until
share.
a point, then it's $2. a beer.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine. That's understandable.
Bucks a beer.
Yeah.
Better than $1 a beer. It's $2 a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Alright, we
you
don't want
gotta
the
make
low
a, You got to
quality.
make a profit.
Yeah,
Well,
we don't
gotta
want
make some
low
money,
quality.
right?
Well, yeah, you're giving us craft beers.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Wait, what? Craft dinner beer? What?
Oh.
Do not make that collaboration if people are out there
Don't
listening.
do
We do
it.
not want to will that into existence at all.
No.
At
please.
all.
I would
all.
try it though.
But it's sincerely-
KDB?
I would try it.
KDB.
Hey,
Oh, look at
Gotta
that.
try everything once.
Oh my god. Yeah, just great.
One with
You guys.
ketchup, one without.
Oh, that's a,
You never know.
Ketchup beer. Oh, come on. They got some beers out there that taste like pamplemousses.
yeah, but like
It's fucking
Pamplemousse.
sour cherry.
I
fucking
am not a
beer.
fan
What
of
the fuck?
ketchup on craft dinner, so just the idea
Oh,
of that
no,
in a beer
eh?
form, no, thank you. No,
I wasn't a
thanks.
huge fan of that either, but I am a big fan, and this pisses off most other people in my life. I love extra milk.
Oh, me too. Actually, high five
soupy.
to that.
Has to be
I'm
soupy.
like that
No
too.
soupy.
Yeah,
I love soupy,
Yeah,
crappy dinner.
for
Like
sure.
Thick.
No,
Less
soupy.
milk.
If you can
Only-
make it
only
thick, that's
butter.
great. But if not, perfectly fine with the
Yeah,
the
make it
extra
a
milk.
soup.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty great.
Only
Yeah.
butter.
But you have to still eat it quick because it gets cold.
Yeah, that's true. It gets, yeah.
You gotta get at it.
And my wife is the only butter with extra real cheese.
And then you put
Oh,
it on
no.
your face when it's cold. And you get a nice face.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Actually,
And then you ferment it and turn it into
Turn it
beer.
whoa.
fermented crappy dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lord, that's
Challenge
great.
accepted.
Love it. So weekend challenges right
Yeah,
here.
there you
for
go.
Sure.
I'll bring it in a couple weeks.
Yeah. But being such a fan, it's great to have you guys follow along and be cool with it. And thanks for watching. And I know we're gonna watch a bunch of live events tonight. In fact, we might watch Dynamite tonight. Yeah. Dynamite.
Oh no, I might be watching Loki.
Just,
No, I'm only on like episode 3 or something.
Well, maybe you get through that then. Wrestling can always wait. Unfortunately. That's a really great
the
show.
same people will be doing the same shit next week.
Yeah, just with different people.
No, they're all the same people.
Sure. Yeah.
They're all the same person.
For sure. Yeah, every one of them. This same
They're
person
all
just comes out with
Orange
different.
Cassidy.
they're all
Shut up,
fucking
Orange
shut
Cassidy.
up. Orange.
Shut up. You too, Kenny Ortega or whatever the fuck your name is.
Omega. What?
Yeah, that guy.
Just a smile and nod.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that guy. That guy can shut up too.
You out there.
They can all shut up. You shut up. You shut up.
I think we touched the nerve with AJ.
I'm gonna say if we were properly
I'm trying to
equipped,
start some wrestling.
I'm gonna say
beef
you
with
flip the table and start wrestling.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
Don't
I'm
actually
trying
do
to
that.
start
but
something here.
for
Gently
sure.
move the table away so we don't ruin anything.
Yeah.
You out there. Are you a fan of wrestling? Are you a fan of AEW? Am I just talking shit? Let us know. Did you watch these week's episodes? We'll put them in the description link so you know what ones we're talking about. And let us know your thoughts. Is wrestling stupid or is it awesome and it's on the second hot renaissance thing that's happening that people in the business are talking about? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. A lot of people are talking about the fact that this is like a new renaissance of wrestling because of how
Gotcha,
popular
okay.
it's becoming. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. Okay. I tripped over
No, it's
my
fine.
words.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. Continue.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Thank you.
Keep going. Yeah.
There's a cookie at the end.
I'll make it. I'll make it.
There's a
Okay,
cook
there's
at
a
the
cook.
end.
Thank you. No, do not.
We're 40 now.
Do not
It's a
defy-
cook, not a cookie.
That's right. We're adults for fuck's sakes. Wow. Jesus. But let us know your thoughts on wrestling and the like in the comments and AEW and all the good stuff out of that. Look at this. Look at these guys going. For anybody out there that is feeling mentally unwell, which I'm sure is probably everybody, we mental health is so
Get
important.
into
today.
wrestling.
Get into wrestling for sure.
They're all mentally unwell in that
Mm.
freaking. No, I'm just
every
kidding.
every industry. I mean,
Mhm.
mental health is so important, and we just wanted you to know that you matter to not just us, but to those that are around you. And it's important to talk to people that could be an ear for you to help discuss. So if you can't talk to us, can't talk to those around you, we'll have links in our description that you can for resources that you can follow to help yourself out. But until next time, I've been Harvey.
Dave.
Can you smell that fart that I just laid? We better get out of here. I'm AJ.
Jesus.
Nice.
And you've just been sarcastically distracted, brother. Yeah, brother. Peace.
I gotta be a new attempt. That was well done.